You wake because something is crawling through your hair. Your skin is sticky with sweat, smoke from last night's fire clings to your body. The grass beneath you smells damp, and yesterday's blood is still dried across a scratch on your arm. There is no shower, no shampoo, no bar of soap waiting beside a clean towel. So how did ancient humans stay clean without soap? The first answer is uncomfortable. They were not clean by modern standards. Their bodies carried dirt, smoke, oils, scars, plant fragments, and parasites. Their hair could hold lice, and their camps could attract flies. That not modern clean does not mean they ignored hygiene. For ancient humans, cleanliness was less about smelling pleasant and more about controlling discomfort and danger. Remove what irritates the skin, keep insects away from where you sleep. Do not let waste build up beside food. Replace wet or infested bedding. Clean visible dirt from a wound. The simplest tool was water. A person living near a river, lake, spring, or coast could rinse sweat, mud, blood, and food from the body. Hands, wet plants, soft fibers, sand, or a piece of hide could help loosen dirt. But archaeology rarely preserves a bath. Water leaves no cut marks on bone and no durable object in the ground, so we should be careful. Ancient humans almost certainly washed when water and conditions made it practical, but we cannot reconstruct a universal bathing schedule. A cold climate group would not treat water the same way as people living beside a warm river. During drought, drinking came before washing. And even where water was abundant, daily full-body bathing was not required to survive. The next defense was grooming. Humans have flexible fingers, strong nails, good close vision, and social partners who can inspect places we cannot easily see ourselves. Someone can pick debris from your hair. Someone can search the back of your head. Someone can remove a tick before it feeds for days. Someone can notice an infected scratch before you do. Direct evidence of a grooming session disappears immediately, but the parasites remain. In Brazil, researchers reported a human hair more than 10,000 years old with a headless egg attached to it. Lice were not a problem created by cities, they were ancient companions. Genetic research on clothing lice points even farther back. One study estimated that clothing lice separated from headless ancestors at least about 83,000 years ago, and possibly as early as 170,000 years ago. The exact date is uncertain. That the logic is important. Clothing lice need clothing. Once humans began wearing hides or other coverings regularly, they created a warm new habitat for parasites. A hide protected you from cold. It could also protect something that wanted to drink your blood. Without chemical insecticides, the response was physical. Tick, scratch, shake, beat, air. Smoke, scrape, cut tangled hair when necessary. Remove eggs one by one. These methods were slow, but they reduced the burden. And hygiene was probably social because another person could clean areas you could not inspect alone. The clearest ancient evidence, however, is not found on the body, it is found beneath it. At Border Cave in South Africa, researchers identified grass bedding dating to about 200,000 years ago. The plant material had been placed over layers of ash. The researchers suggested that the ash may have been used deliberately because it can obstruct the movement of ticks and other crawling arthropods. The bedding created a softer place to sleep and work, while the ash may have made it less attractive to pests. This does not prove that every group understood insect biology. It shows deliberate control of the sleeping surface. At Sibudu rock shelter, also in South Africa, the evidence becomes even more detailed. Beginning around 73,000 years ago, used bedding at Sibudu was burned. The researchers interpreted this as site maintenance, possibly to destroy pests and rubbish before fresh bedding was laid down. Think about what that means. The prehistoric hygiene routine was not necessarily wash the entire body every morning. It may have been burn the infested sleeping layer before lying on it again. This is a different definition of clean. The target was not every grain of dust. The target was the place where biting insects, waste, moisture, and old food fragments accumulated. Fire helped in several ways. Heat could destroy insects hiding in discarded bedding. Smoke discourages many flying pests. Drying materials makes them less comfortable for organisms that prefer damp conditions. But smoke was not a perfect purifier. It irritated eyes and lungs, blackened skin, and left a strong smell. Ancient cleanliness was often a trade-off: less biting, more smoke. A drier sleeping place, more ash on your hands. Ash itself was useful, but it was not magic soap. Dry ash is abrasive and strongly alkaline. Ash can irritate skin. People may have used ash to cover dirty surfaces, dry material, discourage insects, or help scrub objects. But rubbing ash everywhere would not automatically make the body safer. The value depended on how, where, and how much it was used. Sand or fine sediment could help remove dry material from skin and tools. Plant fibers could wipe, while sunlight and moving air could dry clothing and bedding. Yet most of these actions leave little evidence, so they belong to careful reconstruction rather than certainty. Camp layout mattered too. Food waste beside a sleeping area attracts insects and scavengers. Human waste near water can contaminate the source. Wet hides piled in darkness begin to rot. A group that separated sleeping, cooking, butchering, and dumping areas reduced some of those problems. Moving camp also created a crude reset. You left behind accumulated waste, fleas, smells, and contaminated surfaces. Mobility was not always chosen for hygiene, but hygiene could be one of its side effects. The body itself did not need to become sterile. Removing visible filth and parasites could help, but aggressive scrubbing could damage the skin. Ancient humans did not need to smell like modern soap. They needed skin that was not constantly torn open, bedding that was not alive with biting insects, and a camp that did not poison its own water. They did not always succeed. The 10,000-year-old louse egg proves that parasites persisted. People still suffered rashes, infected wounds, intestinal parasites, fleas, ticks, and insect bites. Hygiene reduced risk, it did not erase it, and no single routine existed across all of prehistory. A coastal camp, a frozen steppe, a tropical forest, and a dry cave created different problems. Water access changed, plants changed, parasites changed. Clothing changed, the useful knowledge was local. Which leaves repel insects? Where should waste be placed? When should bedding be replaced? How close can you sleep to smoke? Who is skilled at finding lice? Modern hygiene is hidden inside infrastructure. Pipes deliver clean water. Drains remove waste. Factories make detergents. Washing machines clean clothing. Ancient humans had none of that. Their hygiene system was made from behavior. You wake again beside the fire. Someone is already pulling old grass from the sleeping area. Another person carries fresh leaves into the shelter. An elder spreads ash across the ground. A child sits while someone carefully searches through their hair. Later, you rinse the dried blood from your arm at the stream. You still smell of smoke, your feet are still dusty. But the wet bedding is gone, the biting insects are fewer, and the scratch is no longer tacked with dirt. You are not clean by modern standards, you are clean enough to sleep, heal, and keep moving. And for most of human history, that was the kind of cleanliness that mattered. If you enjoyed this journey into the distant past, subscribe for more stories about ancient humans and human evolution.